Alright, so thank you for following us on XS Video Box. We are in XS Drift Racing's workshop today, and a lot of you have requested more kind of in-depth analysis on these cars and what's under the hood, what's going on here, how we go about our daily grind at the office. So yeah, we are to show you what we're doing this year in 2022. The season is going to get underway in pretty much March, the first weekend of March. It's our first drift competition, so we're going to align ourselves to preparing our cars for their weekend. So this year, new livery, one or two new sponsors and partners, but for the most part, new engine, some upgrades, and we'll take you through each of the cars at the moment. So first up, we're down here, Grant's making some heavy changes to one of our spare race cars, which will become my formal race car for the 2022 season. It's got an Alice 2 in. It's a work motor, so it's pushing out about 400 kilowatts, which should be enough to get around the track, I presume. Grant, back me up here, buddy.
I think she's got more than enough time. Blow some smoke.
Yeah, she's a good tire eater. What we've done is we've gone and made our own kind of suspension, or our own steering angle suspension rather, on the low end. So we've got fabricated control arms. The hubs are different. We've kind of replaced the whole steering angle and steering situation so that we can make easy changes. So bigger cam obviously in the front, so when we're going into corners, more of the tires grabbing onto the road and creating grip. Obviously there's a number of other changes we'll go about when we get under the car now. I'll show you those changes. So this car is going to be a formal race car, not a spare car this year, which is going to be fantastic. So Grant's just changing the rack at the moment. The rack was a bit sticky, we found in December at the Gas Live Motor Show. Changing the bonnet. I want my old bonnet from my old car back on this one, and I think she'll be ready to go. Also going to do some seat changes. The seats in here are quite wide. They were made for big butts, and I've got a nice skinny butt, so we're going to put it in that chair, lock it down so that I don't have a lot of movement. There you go. Alright, so I'm here with Grant Olivier from France. He's all the way, we import him from France, s'il vous plaît. And he's going to explain to you kind of the suspension and the low control arms to you in his narrative. Go for it, Grant.
In not so big terms. so basically what we've done is made complete custom control arms. We've also lengthened the tie rods so that you can get a little bit more angle out of it. Obviously your standard tie rod arms won't give you the amount of turning angle that we deserve.
What are we actually looking at here in turning angle?
Here I'd say looking, probably this is max angle for this car, but just pushing about 70, 75 degrees, call me a liar, but it's definitely over 60.
Yeah. So you've lengthened the lower control arm on the bottom there. So those are custom, right?
Yes, so this is full custom lower control arms we built in-house with the help of Smoke Factory. And literally it is now fully adjustable. We just need to loosen these two bolts and you can adjust them either out or in to give you your camber and your caster adjustments.
So caster, we talk about the wheel coming forward or backwards, right?
We pushed it slightly forward so that it gives you a little bit easier flick. And then you can't push it too far, because then when you're in drift and you let go of your steering wheel, you want your car to actually naturally pull itself straight again. Whereas if your caster angle is wrong, you'll let it go and it'll sit there. And that's not really good for drifting. So we've
also,
had to tweak that a bit.
You put a lot of forces on the low control arm.
And also on your suspension as well. So we actually this year want to try and change this up a little bit more so that we can get the suspension, or the actual shock, to sit a little bit more straight on the control arm itself, which will also help for dampening and a little bit more control on your steering.
Okay, so we've spoken about camber, we've spoken about caster. What about toe?
Well, toe, that's basically every drifter's discretion. So a lot of guys like to go a slight toe out. They say it helps, but everyone is different. It also helps with your driving style. So everyone is completely different. But with toe, all you're basically doing is your wheels are basically aligned dead straight, and you give it slight toe out, which means you make both of your front wheels angle slightly away from each other. And that's what helps a lot of people, but
With stability.
Like I said,
so like maybe more stability, but if you're looking for more
preference,
agility, would you put the toe slightly in?
So I prefer to keep the toe as dead straight and zeroed as possible. For me, that's just given the best results.
So that's kind of a driver preference thing. That's not like really up to you. You would just set it, on the basis of what the driver wants.
Yes.
Okay. And then obviously running still standard Brembo brakes on the front of the car. At the back, or we're running 2 sets on this car?
On this car, it's got a dual caliper set at the back, so you don't have to run an inline handbrake system. So now your brakes are independent from your actual handbrake. When you pull your handbrake, it's got an independent system that runs on its own independent calipers.
And not one system with a one single valve.
So now it's a completely split system. So you've got
which is what I used to run on the old race car, right?
On your other race car, yeah, you used to run an inline system, and then you would see sometimes you'd have to literally prime the handbrake a little bit because it becomes a bit spongy.
Yeah.
Obviously because it's all running in the same line. But this just makes it a lot more efficient and a lot smoother.
I think it's time for those turbofan wheel covers to come to the back there.
To keep it nice and cool, yeah.
Won't let the cat out the bag yet. Okay, let's go to the back, show them how that double caliper looks. Alright, so we're now at the back wheel of my 2022 drift car. Obviously Falcon tyres, obviously shout out. Anyway, Motul over here, provide all our oils and lubricants. And then obviously if you come a little bit closer, you can see the 2 calipers mounted on the back wheel here. Grant.
Yeah, so we've had to slightly customize the standard hub and just weld on some extra tabs for an extra mount so that we can actually mount the second caliper on here. This is still where your standard normal caliper sits on your standard 350Z. We've just now adjusted it and added a second one at the back that's purely for your handbrake. So now when you pull your handbrake, she locks up instantly. There's no fade, there's none of that.
Best for initiation and some tandems, obviously.
Definitely.
And I see we're back to the old wing, eh? So we're gonna go the kind of undermount as opposed to the old swan neck over here on this side. You can see the swan neck, which is still cool. I still dig it.
I love the design, but it needs a few tweaks.
This car needs a freshen up. Obviously a new wrap, nuts and bolts,
some fresh body kit,
new engine. We'll tell you why in a second. So yeah, we are with my baby. Baby's been through some real stress over December. Had an event down at Desi Raceway in Port Shepstone called the Gas Live. It was a great event. Anyway, she ran amazingly for the whole day, and then I put my wife in the car for the first time and did 2 laps. On the 3rd lap, car was running great actually. It was smoking up, it was pulling some serious power. I could feel it was really running smoothly. and then went around the last corner, which was quite a long bend, and she gave up. She basically just kind of froze, you know. The engine just, what's the word, Grant? Computer says no. No, so she just locked up, the motor locked up, and unfortunately put a hole in the side of the motor. Right, so on the other side of the showroom this year in 2022, for some of our cars we fabricated and customized, and our top mark clients with their beautiful cars, their supercars and hypercars and sports cars and all their vintage classics, etc, etc. So we decided as a business we're going to start a detailing booth. So we're going into some detailing outside of fabrication and customs, and Warren's setting up some lighting, I see. So what's happening here, Warren?
Yeah, so I'm just making sure I'm putting up some LEDs right around the section here that we're going to be using. It's just to make sure that when our good friend Fraser, who's going to be the detailing for us, when he comes in, that he's got a good look on the cars, you know, that everything is nice and there's no shadows or anything. So basically when we do something like that, you obviously need a fair amount of light, and
yeah, you want to be able to see any contaminant scratches, marks on the
correct.
car. You want to be able to see if there's any dust on the car and that type of thing, and make sure it's clean before you actually treat the car. So we'll be doing a lot of things like ceramic coating, and a lot of you know, these elite shampoo washes, etc, etc. We do inside the cars, we do the leather treatments, we do the full service cleaning, you know, and custom detailing. So it's going to be a full service approach to our clients' cars, and that's what it's all about, you know, giving them the best service we can give them.
Alright, so Mike, over above all the detailing that we're going to be doing in this bay, we're also going to be partnering up with our great friends from Sharpline and Avery Dennison, and we're going to be wrapping some cars in here. So it's obviously also part of detailing, and we're going to make the cars look nice and fresh and everything. And yeah, it's going to be a sick bay to be wrapping cars in.
So not only do we clean and wash and make the cars look pretty and shiny, but also we'll be wrapping some of the cars. So like you see on the race cars, we've got custom wrap and design. We're going to do the same for other cars that are.
Correct.
So guys can bring their cars in, change the color of their car. They can also customize it and put their own graphic on the car.
Yeah, their own graphic, their own colors, their own lines, whatever it is they want. We'll be doing that in our house as well.
Yeah, I see Avery have also come out with this new kind of vinyl. It's got like a texture to it. It's textured vinyl, so you can put it on like Land Rovers. When going out into the bush, it's a little bit more robust and can handle the scratching of the bushes and that type of thing when you drive past. So that's another addition of offering here at XS Race.